Hello everyone. Hi Instagram. Waiting for people to find out that my brother-in-law is in town, and I asked him to come on and give you guys some dating tips and advice. He runs a lot of seminars as well called The Possible You, which are sort of similar. We actually work similar. It's kind of funny that it's all in the family because we both did it independently, but he works similar. Hi guys. Oh, hi everyone. And Yom Tom Glaser is my brother-in-law. He's my husband's brother. And we are going to go live. Also, I thought it'd be cool to hear a little bit about a crazy story that happened actually when I knew Yom Tov years before I was married to his brother. And I was going to share a little story and also get some dating tips from him about the guy's perspective, because I feel like here we talk a lot with the girls, and it'd be great to hear also about what is it that we don't understand about men. So I thought that could be cool. So there's a little bit of a surprise pop-up. I didn't warn you all that this was going to happen because we kind of decided it just before Shabbat that we would do this, but I am really happy. And if you have questions, because this is so impromptu, put your questions in the chat and I will definitely look for them as we go if you have any questions for Yom Tov. But I'm so excited to have him here. He's like wandering around my house, looking around. Ignore the mess. But here is Yom Tov. He is in the house.
Hello, everyone. Shalom. I'm sitting back here.
He's sitting back. He's kicking back. He's relaxing. And so, as you know, I do a lot of dating stuff with a lot of women, mainly women. Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, no. I want to tell the story first about how I went on a trip many years ago. I don't know. It must have been in 2008 or 7 or 8 or something. And we were going to a Mukah in Israel, which is famous for dating, right? And the whole story there of the tzaddik who died and said he would help singles reunite, you know, if people went and prayed by his grave. And as I was going, I was a student. I don't even think I was that observant at all in Jewish observance. And I remember, you don't remember this, but I remember Yom Tov was talking about how, and this is a cool topic to talk about.
This is in the tomb itself?
No, this was on the bus on the way down. You're on the mic on the bus?
Yeah, this is a tomb of someone who lived,
oh, yeah, you want to share
2,000 years ago.
Yeah, 2,000 years ago, some righteous tzaddik.
Of Yonasan ben Uziel.
Oh, that's who it is?
And you want to know something interesting? Mm. Right above this kind of wormhole for shidduchim, for couples, where couples actually had prayed on either side of the tomb, because there's a woman's side and a men's side, and they actually married. And
oh, really?
Found out they prayed at the same time. Crazy stuff's happening.
Oh, wow.
Amazing mountain bike trails all around that forest. But my wife and I we have our own little kind of cabin right over it.
Really?
And we'll just pray for couples literally right over it.
Wow.
You can't see it from the tomb. You can't see the tomb from it because it's such thick forest. But we're right above it all the time, like once a month. With it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. There you go. See, I'm finding out things about my own family. Great. So we were on our way down, and Yom Tov was talking about how there's a real phenomenon spiritually that when you have a friendship with someone of the opposite sex, you don't remember this, but I was that connection, right? Let's say you have a male platonic friendships, or you even enjoy a interaction with a work colleague, that it's enjoyable in a different way because obviously the masculine and feminine have a connection, and that on some level satisfies a need for that intimacy that we have. And when you do that, on some level, you can even remove or reduce your need for that intimacy that you're longing for in your partner, which I thought was interesting because I know a lot of people who have platonic friends that, you know, not now, but like when I was that age, and it really made sense to me at the time. And I decided to just have a little bit more distance from some of the friends I had more closely because I wasn't so observant. And it really stuck in my head, this idea that, you know, we find ways to, on some level, you know, it feels good, but on another level, it can distract you. Things can distract us from what really we deeply yearn for. And little did he know that what I was deeply yearning for was to be married to his brother. So it was just bizarre. But I remember that really affected me, that concept that you said it's when you remove, I think it was the concept that when you remove things that we also medicate the pain with, which was like, let's say I was in yearning because I was single and I really wanted a connection with male energy, which was healthy, but then I was getting it in ways that weren't really the right type of energy that with the right vessel. And that when you do that, you can actually block, your what you really want, and that when you remove it, even though it might be hard, then you create a really deep vessel for that yearning and that draws it to you more from a more spiritual perspective. Is that right?
Yeah, and if you can think of God in this kind of way, that He's the fulfiller of needs.
Yeah.
Meaning every ant is eating something right now, and every anteater is going to go eat that ant, and like everyone's getting their need fulfilled. But if I have myself tapped, women are multispectral when it comes to relationship needs, which many of those spectrums they can get from friends, girlfriends. But there's certain needs that men fulfill that us as husbands, like one of the advice I give men is like fulfill as many of those needs as you can. You can't fulfill them all, but as many as you can, because the nature of a woman will get her needs met somewhere, somehow, and which could go anywhere from food to shopping to, God forbid, a extramarital thing. But the job of a man is to really fulfill the spectrum, whereas men's needs on the spectrum of relationship, like we'll talk maybe a little later about men's needs and like how men see the dating. And
so let's go to that. I'm just going to check if there's any questions. Hi guys, welcome. There was one question. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. Someone's asking exactly about that. Met a guy on a date. He works in my town 5 times a year and lives far away, but we had a very nice connection on our date. But now I wonder, should I keep in contact or leave it? Definitely keep in contact. Like if you had a nice date with him and he comes in 5 times a year, then I don't know if you can go there also, but for sure that I don't know how many other dates you're having that are really great, but if you're not, definitely be in touch and continue the dating. There's definitely ways to date long distance as long as you have a plan to keep seeing each other, right? Because we have to build connection in real life, and when you're long distance and you have FaceTime or you have video calls, that can maintain the connection, but it won't build the connection. So if there's no plan to meet face to face, then then that's really too hard, I think, if there's no plan and no one can travel, and there's no point to that. But if he's coming in 5 times a year and that you could potentially go there as well, then it sounds like it's got real potential. But I do want to, so put in your questions, guys, if you do have questions. And
I already have help with that one.
Yeah, go for it. Can you hear Yom Tov?
Yeah, let us know if
let me know
I'm
if you
too
can't.
far away.
Yeah.
On a vertical phone, the only modest way to be both in the frame is
exactly
is to be far from the camera.
Exactly.
So this is like really bad etiquette regarding cameras.
Can you hear us?
I can put another pillow here.
Yeah, what was your input on the long distance thing?
Yeah, so we had just gotten through saying not to have these like multi-spectrum needs being met by other men platonically.
Yeah.
But also don't get them met by the person you're dating.
Don't get what?
Don't get them met by the person you're dating. You get married and then get them met.
Oh, right. You're talking physical.
No,
emotional.
Any
needs met.
Your relationship needs.
Meaning because you don't want to fall into that rhythm of just like you want it to move into a sense of commitment, so that there's a container.
And especially women need to have that no tiki no washi type of relationship to men.
What's that?
No tiki no washi.
No tiki no washi. Does anyone know what that means?
Maybe they didn't say that in Australia.
No, they did not say that. I've never heard that in my life. Yeah.
There's 2 major things that are really important in dating, and this I think is for men and women, but the first one's more for women, and is that, well, let's just talk about mystery. You have to marry someone based on a fantasy, which is a weird thing to say. But
you're gonna freak everyone out now.
Yeah, well, I'm okay with that. You have to.
I'll pick up the pieces later.
Yeah, you'll see how it goes. Just go with
okay, I'm going
be
with
me.
I'm going with it.
So, the way to get married has to require, there's a lot of unknowns. This is why you'll notice people live together, there's no unknowns, they rarely marry. People are part of the same social milieu, like Upper West Side Manhattan. Very few weddings happening, because everyone knows everything about everyone from all the Shabbos tables and all the experiences together. And it's like, there's no mystery.
Well, I heard even worse than that, that if people live together, when they actually get engaged, there's the highest level of breakups after that. Meaning... That's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, they can't go through with it. Yeah.
There's no mystery.
There's no mystery.
Yeah, so
But that scares people.
The mystery.
The mystery scares... I get so many questions about that.
But there's another issue here, which is what I was going to bring up, because you're talking about 5 times a year. They should know within a month, this couple.
Right.
But we'll get to that in a sec.
Right, I hear.
We'll get to that in a sec. You see, one of the ways you get rid of mystery is by, and again, this is the world according to me. This is your dating site, but very little dating. This is not a relationship. We're not going for a relationship. We're going for marriage. And I just told a Gentile in a bar, like I was just at a blues bar, just hearing live music, and here I'm with this guy who's such a sweet guy. This guy who's 36 years old, gave up dating altogether because it's just not going anywhere. And he's such a sweet guy, such a perfect guy for anyone to marry. And I said, listen, let me give you great dating advice. Stop dating. No girlfriends. Where I go to the Schwitz, where I go to the sauna in Monroe, in the mountains, like near the Catskills. So the Mexican guy who runs the place, Mario. Sorry, Mario, I know you're not Mexican, but everyone calls Spanish.
Mario is for sure not watching. That's okay. Yeah.
In New York, everyone calls the Spanish speakers Mexicans, and there's like not one Mexican.
Oh, wow.
Like this one's from Guatemala, this one's from Honduras, this one's from Colombia, this one's from Argentina, and where the all the New Yorkers call them Mexicans. Yeah. Anyway, I told Mario, because he had just broken up with his girlfriend, he was very bummed, and I said, Mario, we're close. So I said, Mario, stop having girlfriends, and then you'll get married. Stop having girlfriends, because
so what's the purpose?
Very
of dating?
little dating, enough dating that you get to know them a bit. Now, what happens if you don't know them too well? So the part of the brain that fantasizes that, oh my gosh, this might be the one. Maybe this is the one. Maybe this is the one. Maybe this is the one. When you have this overarching words in your head of maybe this is the one, it leaves a lot of room to fantasize about that particular person, that maybe this is the one. Now, what happens is every little thing they do is magic. You understand? Every little thing they do is magic, right? Everything they're doing is magic.
Yeah.
Those same things are going to make you nuts later.
Yeah.
I mean, the things that you think are magical.
Except your brother, of course.
the things that their little idiosyncrasies that you just think are the cutest thing in the world is because of maybe this is the one fantasy. And meaning everyone marries Rachel and wakes up with Leah.
Yeah.
Okay? You got to go to bed with meaning you marry your fantasy and you wake up to the reality that all those things that you're fantasizing about. So how much dating do you do? Enough to know this person's not evil.
And that you like them.
Obviously.
You like them.
Well, you wouldn't keep dating if you didn't like them.
So the purpose of dating is to decide that you want to marry them. Meaning it's not about having the relationship in the dating process itself. Right. It's about dating to assess, could I make it work with this person in the context of marriage? Not now. Although I do think that there needs to be certain... you need to date enough to see whether you have the relational building blocks to see whether you could have that. Like communication, for example. Like if
you get that pretty quick if it flows.
If it flows. And
if it's not flowing, then why would you ever...
But also people have wounds and people are very worried about waking up with a different person. I'll say, don't worry, you will be waking up with a different person, right? But waking up in the sense that they haven't seen the red flags, and a lot of my women are like, is that a red flag? Is that a red flag? They're so worried about the red flags. So how can women check out a guy's red flag?
Right, because they have to. Everyone should have up to 3 deal breakers and no more.
Yeah, that's what we do too.
3?
Yep, 3.
3 deal breakers. And those are the red flags. And then all the rest of them are just the things you'll live with. No,
but let's say someone's abusive, controlling.
That's a red flag.
That's a red flag, but might not be on there. Meaning, I assume no woman wants to marry a guy who's abusive, right? So that's a red flag for everyone, but you don't have to put that on your list.
But you may not know he's abusive yet.
Yeah, you don't know, because they put the charm on. You know what I'm saying? That's what people are worried about, right, guys?
But you're supposed to dig up a little bit about the person.
You have to dig up. You have to dig.
Yeah.
Not direct. You could dig indirectly.
Yeah, just not
Research.
through them.
No, research.
Yeah,
Research.
Like,
how do you find out that information? Doing research.
You got to find out a little bit of their dating history. In the frum world, it would be harder. I don't know how much of your audience is observant.
They're pretty observant, most of them. Yeah.
So then it's a little harder. Meaning in the secular world, you just
secular
find out
world,
who they dated for those 8 months.
Yeah.
And then you can find out like why it ended. Whereas in the observant community, it'd be much harder to figure it out. People are really scared of abusive relationships.
They're scared of missing something or they are. They're really scared of that. They're scared, but really what I feel that is, guys, is a lack of self-trust, meaning you don't trust yourself to make the right decision. You don't trust yourself to feel that healthy relationship. And that comes down to our own growth in ourself, that if I'm healthy with myself and I am in tune with myself, then you will feel when someone is being inappropriate or unhealthy.
Right.
So I know in the observant world, it's like there's a quick dating process and you decide to get married, you get married. Depending on the age, I think it makes a huge difference, the age, but I do think that it's important to see enough of how you communicate together and how each person responds when they don't get their way, when you're not just in that mode of like impressing and like just putting on your best facade, and like when someone doesn't get their way, how do they react? When someone is not looking and they're not trying to impress you, when they let their guard down a little, then you want to see like a little bit who they are. I think that's important, especially if you haven't done a ton of research, meaning if you don't have that safety of the background. But there's some really good questions coming in, so I just want to jump into some of these questions as well. And also I want to hear, we're brother-in-law and sister-in-law, guys, if anyone's confused, if they came late. You guys are siblings. Someone saying we're siblings. No, my husband is Yom Tov's brother. That's why I'm a Glaser. How do you keep the mystery without seeming cold and distant?
Cold and distant. What I meant by mystery is that you don't have to know absolutely everything about somebody. The more you find out, the less the mystery. So, meaning don't date a ton of times. Date 3 times. 4th time, they say you should spill the beans about yourself, like what's really going on.
4th?
That's what we do in Jerusalem.
Interesting.
In Jerusalem, the Yeshivish community, 3 dates just to see if you like each other, get to know each other. 4th date, you let them know that you only have 3 toes.
Really? Okay. I hear that. I mean, the first 3 dates we say are usually just you're assessing, do I even like this person enough to want to get to know them in a deeper way?
But it should be a deep dive on who each other is.
When?
Those 3 dates.
Yeah, but not too intense. You want to see, do I like each other? Like,
why not
because
too
I'll
intense?
tell you why. Because what happens is,
you?
no, because you get into like this interview style. People get into interview style. I'm going to throw questions at you, right, guys? Interview style. They drill with questions because people are scared. I find most people are scared to open up in the early stages. So they go in guarded, and then they're like, well, what do you think? And like, what do you do? And what sort of home do you want? And it's all theoretical in the head, and it's not in the heart.
What if they just communicate straight out? Like, I'm not going to ask you a million questions without you asking me a million questions. So why don't we both say, like, we're really in this, we're in it to win it. Let's go back and forth. Let's play ping pong. You ask me something up to 3 things. I'll ask you 1 thing up to 3 things. Let's just be crazy honest.
Because it stays in the head. And they don't get into the heart, and it stops a bonding. That's what I've seen. When that interview mode is in, it's like on some level, it's like they're so burnt out from dating, and they're just like they're asking the same questions, but like there's no real connection happening.
What if you say we're going to point these questions towards painful things that we went through as kids?
I hear it, but I wouldn't do that the first date or second date.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Why, guys? Why?
What are you from, Melbourne?
Sydney.
I'm from California.
I'm from Sydney.
I'm just like, I can speak to someone for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he and I are already at the core of like our deepest pain.
I'll tell you why. Because there's no pressure on that. When we go out on a date, there's pressure. There's pressure on the date. Like just the fact that it's a blind date, there's a pressure. And now there's like, okay, pressure. Now connect. Go. And then that already creates a resistance, I feel, internally. And then you're like, okay, so what do you do? Okay, so what's your family like? Oh, how many brothers and sisters do you have? And it gets into this like fake thing in the head, right? Is this like, tell me if I'm getting this wrong. And the biggest question I get asked, one of the most common, is how do you move from that just like head questions to like a real authentic heart connection? When it's set up, it's already contrived on some level, and it's this blind date, and I don't know. Is that fair to say, guys?
Very well, fair, and I
right.
think,
You hear that point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can somehow affect people to bare their souls.
Right. No, you have to be
The thing
willing
is,
to be vulnerable.
You don't want this guy holding your soul if you don't want to marry him.
Someone's laughing that you said date them long enough to know they're not evil. Is that what he just said? Yes, he did say that. But I hear, like, what Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson says it differently, but it's the same thing. He says you want to date someone long enough to remove obstacles, meaning is there any reason I shouldn't marry this person, right? And if they're evil, obviously you wouldn't. But is there any reason I shouldn't marry this person? So I keep dating them to see, like, are there any other obstacles in the way of saying yes or moving forward with this person? Mm-hmm. Self-imposed pressure and resistance. You should go into dates open and vulnerable. Exactly. But that is a lot of self-imposed pressure and resistance. But it's also pressure from sometimes shadchans, matchmakers, parents, family, friends, right? Talk to me about the pressure, guys. I hear about it all day long from you. Someone else said, do you believe in instant connection?
Asking me?
Yeah, or us, yeah. Do you believe in instant connection?
Yeah, it was something I actually
Let's talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Well, I want to talk about energy in general.
Yeah.
That if someone's throwing garbage on you, like we're talking about like abusive people.
Yeah.
If someone's throwing the principle and the possible you, which also,
seminar.
So the possible you seminar runs for men, runs for women. It's separate, men's, women's seminars. But what it does is it cleans off garbage vibration within you. So an abusive person would never be abusive to me. Because I'm not an opening to that. I'm not a listening for that. I'm not a satellite dish that sucks in their abuse.
Right.
So they'll go after someone else. So garbage are saying
that's an important point, guys.
Yeah.
You have to be a receiver for you have to allow it in. It's not that there's some random abusive person that's just going to abuse you. You have to tolerate that. And there's signs of that in the dating process. There are definitely signs of that. Disrespect for boundaries. So you have to know yourself again. If you're a people pleaser, if you can't set boundaries, if you feel guilty about having your needs met or asking for what you need, they're the things you have to work on, because they're the weaknesses and the openings that would potentially allow someone to mistreat you. So, and you would know this, by the way. Have you been mistreated by friendships? Have you been mistreated in the past? You don't have to just wait for dating.
That's a good way to check it out.
Yeah. Like, what do your friends take advantage of you sometimes? Do you get resentful? Family? But that's on you now as an adult to start to heal that and to start to correct it. Might be part of your tikkun and your soul correction.
Right. It's also siblings, parents.
Siblings.
If you get picked on, you will then, because you can pull the abusive out of anybody. Like the nicest person in the world. I'm sure my wife said to me over the years, like, it's abusive. Whatever I said or did,
right.
And I'd be
Hi, Leah. We love Leah. She's definitely not on Instagram, but.
And I'd be like, obviously I'd take responsibility if she told me that was abusive, but but the point we're saying is, and I always know if anyone's ever abusive to me, if someone's throwing garbage on me, I'm a garbage can. We all like to point like that guy is a garbage thrower, but if they're a garbage thrower, that makes you the garbage can.
Nice.
So I have a saying that if you're pointing your finger at somebody, there's 3 more pointing back at you.
Yeah.
And so I'm pulling the abuse out of this person. So when you get your energy like really, really clean, nobody is ever going to date you that's not clean themselves.
Because it's a vibration.
It's a vibrational thing. Yeah. The abusive person will always find their victims. And the clean person will always be attracted to the clean. So that's just the way it goes.
By the way, I heard a source for this. Mishle.
Nice.
Just like the water, Mayim reflects face to face, al panim apanim, right? So too, man's heart reflects another man's heart. So what you give out from your heart to the world, other people will reflect back to you, even if they don't know about it, and even if it's on the other side of the world. Mm-hmm. So, as for example, clients in my course, they'll start changing internally, and then they haven't had a date in 2 years, and out of nowhere, in the middle of the course, they'll get someone randomly calls them from Israel and says, "I've got the best guy for you." They're freaking out. How did that happen? Because you shifted your vessel and what you put out to the world, even subconsciously and silently, even though you didn't broadcast it. It shifts. I don't know. It shifts something. Like people feel it. And that comes to you. Yeah.
I had a seminar many years ago, like 20 years ago, where there were, out of the 30 women, there were 3 that suffered abuse, like in the family.
Yeah.
And all 3 had disconnected. The earliest was 10 years prior. They were older women. They were in their 40s, maybe. They, at the next week, we got together for the reunion, and all 3 had been contacted by their family members. None of them even knew they were in Israel.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was
That's
crazy.
amazing. Okay, instant connection. Yes, I believe in instant connection, but I do want to say something about instant connection. Someone asked, do you believe in instant connection? Instant connection can be, there's a flow, like Yom Tov was saying, there's a flow and it's easy, but at the same time, I want to talk about, I just made a reel on this for this week, actually, so it's funny you brought it up. Infatuation, that intense infatuation, can actually be a red flag for you because it could be hooking into one of your childhood wounds. So infatuation, where I feel like I need to be obsessed or I am obsessed with the guy or the person I'm dating, is sometimes that obsession of that infatuation is because you're infatuated with how they make you feel. You want their attention, you want their energy, you want their love. And when they don't give it to you, that triggers often anxious attachment, right? They didn't text me, they didn't respond. Why not? Why not? I get really worried. And that anxious attachment and that need for their attention is really what a child feels with their caregiver. It's really like, I want mommy's attention and I'll do anything for that attention because when she gives me that love and attention, I feel okay. I feel good in myself. And then when she doesn't or she's not consistent, I'm going to panic. I'm going to get anxious. That's the flow that's going on subconsciously for us when we're in that mode. So if you'll be very careful of infatuation and obsessing with a date, it is not healthy. It's not stable. It's not consistent. It's not healthy love, right?
Yeah. It's interesting you're saying that because if people have really clean energy, then there's instant connection with literally everybody. Like I'm like, I was sitting on a downtown street. Hey, we're looking at downtown.
Yeah.
I was sitting downtown on the sidewalk with a 90-year-old African man, homeless.
We're not going to ask why, but...
Because he wanted $1.
Oh, you were giving him $1, yeah?
Well, no, at this point I was already sitting with him, holding hands. He has the softest, sweetest hands in the world. He's holding both my hands.
Don't try this at home.
He's holding both my hands. Well, when you have the energy. This is in downtown. It was 1:30 in the morning, maybe. It's only like homeless and freaked out people.
Yeah.
And we're holding hands, and he saw my look, and immediately just started like prophesizing. It was so beautiful.
What was that mean, prophesizing?
He was like into Isaac and Jacob, and
oh really?
And like talking about the future, and all he asked for was $1. That's what he said, $1.
Yeah. So
anyway, I decided I'm giving him $100. So
wow.
Yeah, for sure. This guy was like, he gets $100. So
when we're more whole,
he wouldn't take it.
Oh, he wouldn't take it?
He said, I don't want your $100. I asked for $1. And I tried again. He was like,
wow. Yeah, dignity.
This guy was the real deal.
Yeah.
And I obviously made sure that he had $1.
Yeah.
And why am I talking about instant connection?
Yeah, instant connection.
Once you're really clean, it's
wholeness.
instant connection, and there's a good you chop that immediately. That someone who's got all kinds of oogly googly stuff that could easily, that's attracting oogly googlies, could easily wind up infatuated because this person's going to fulfill something for them. You want to hear an amazing?
So we want to make a distinction between instant connection and infatuation. I think that's important.
And instant connection comes. Well, you got to be careful. You got to be careful of the danger of instant connection.
Yes.
Because people are very clean, just connect to everybody. And everyone else connects to everyone. And then it's like, well, what good is that? Now I can't decipher who's the one.
So let's make a distinction. So do you hear what Yom Tov's saying? He's saying that if you're healthy, you'll connect with anyone. So sometimes it's true. Sometimes singles say to me, he was so wonderful, but then it turns out he's wonderful with everyone. So they didn't know if he was really interested in them. However, it will build. So healthy love and connection will build slowly with consistency and stability, and it would be like a slow build. The wounded kind of infatuation that hooks you in is very intense, very obsessive, where you kind of lose yourself and you can't stop thinking about them, and all you're doing is you're kind of going into their world and thinking about them, and it's more like a roller coaster. It's really like unstable.
And you have to be very careful to push off your need for a boyfriend.
Right. Well, depending on which world they're coming from, but yeah.
I'm saying a secular person should push.
Yeah, secular person, but observant. Also, sometimes people feel bad ending dates. Like I can't tell you how many women tell me I feel bad ending it. I said, what? So you should marry him just because you feel bad? Okay, well, I'm just going into other people. What are you supposed to feel when it's besheret? If it's not the obsessive, exciting feeling, what are you meant to feel? Excellent question. What are you meant to feel? Do you want to answer that first? Do you want me to answer that?
Go ahead.
I always say that your soulmate should feel like home, not Hollywood. So that obsessive thing is like infatuation, and that's like Hollywood. We've been sold that in Hollywood, that picture, right, of that intensity. By the way, you should just know that intensity is really avoidant attachment. That avoidant attachment style with anxious attachment is that loop. The avoidant anxious loop is the Hollywood script. Right? So what you have...
all the love songs.
And all the love songs. Like you have this, I can't live without you and I'm so intense. And then the woman is going after the guy and she's like obsessing about him and whatever. And he's like more aloof and avoidant. And then she finally gives up and she goes to go home. And all of a sudden when she pulls back, he has the realization she's the one. And he goes bolting to the airport at the airport scene, the last minute, at that scene. And then like grabs her before the flight and they embrace and you see happy ever after. And it was like, and like it feels so good. But that is absolutely not going to happen for the rest of their life. That then he's going to pull back and she's going to get anxious and she's going to...
Well, he's actually going to pull back and go to the makeup room to get the makeup off.
Oh, that's true.
Go back to his wife.
But if it was real, that's true. But if it was real, if it was even in a real anxious avoidant loop, then and they were in relationship, it wouldn't be like that. But anyway, so what should you feel? You should feel calm. Whenever I just spoke to someone today, said I feel really calm when I'm with him. Yes. I like him. It's kind of easy. I can feel like I can totally be myself. That's key. And I feel safe. I feel infatuation and obsession does not feel safe. Roller coasters are not safe. They're thrilling, but they're not safe feeling, right? So we want to feel safe. Safety is key. We want to feel it's kind of flows and it's easy. You can be yourself. You don't have to hide and edit things. And you can feel at home. That's what I mean by home. Feels like home. Now, you can't feel at home if you're not at home in yourself. So you have to do your own work, right? With either with a therapist, with possibly you, with my course, with a therapist, with a coach, with whoever. You have to do your own work that you feel home in yourself. And then you can spot that in someone else more easily. Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that?
I just wanted to share a funny story that I was once with... I don't know how politically correct it is to mention how important we find it to be that Jews marry members of the tribe. And I was teaching class in Jerusalem, and a guy said he was engaged to a Gentile girl in a packed class of 40 people, and then the guy in the back of the class said he was engaged to a Gentile. And this class had nothing to do with that. I don't know what he was thinking, because the class was about like, the history of Kabbalah or something. And I turned around like he really said it, that I would react.
Yeah. So
I looked at him and I said, "Do we have to kill her?" And he said, "You'd have to kill me first." I was joking though.
Yeah.
But I pretended like I wasn't.
Yeah.
And he said, "You'd have to kill me first." And the whole room goes like, ah. And I said, "So you love her?" He says, "I love her with all my heart." And I said to the group, I said, "Should he marry her?" And everyone's like, "Yes." And I said, "Tell me, why do you love her?" And this guy lists off 9 reasons why he loves her. More, I think.
Yeah.
So I just quickly grabbed my pen that was going to be about the history of Kabbalah, and I just wrote down, at least jotted down a word per, a reason per word. And then I looked again at the crowd and I said, "Should he marry her?" And they're like, "Yes, it's love, yeah." And then I took the pen and I took a red pen and I wrote the word "me" 9 times, either before or after. She loves me, which is what he said.
Yeah.
She loves me. She cooks for me. She takes care of me. I feel good when I'm with her.
Yeah.
And it was like, and he perfectly did not say one thing about her, not one.
It was about him.
Everything. So I looked to the crowd and I said,
"That's quite deep."
I said, "Who does he love?" I mean, he fell right into the trap. I said, "Who?" So I yelled to everybody, "Who does he love?" And they all said,
"Me." Himself.
They all said he
Wow.
loves himself. And I said, no, he hates himself. And these are 9 Band-Aids that she's putting on him.
Wow.
And then I gave up the Kabbalah class and I taught for the next hour a class on how to become someone who is fulfilled in these 9 things.
Within yourself.
And then you can go date.
Oh, that's great.
Because you're not looking
Did
for...
you get that, guys?
You're not looking for a patch.
Right.
You're not trying to date an Apache.
Oh, that's really deep. There's lots of layers to that. Like we seek out other people to meet unfulfilled needs in ourselves, and then we think we love them, but we're really loving ourselves. So you're saying that you go away and do the work on those things that you're looking for in others, and then you're actually more whole and you can actually date for marriage and have a good one.
Right. And also the likelihood that you're going to develop.
I like that.
Let's say you do marry for the things they're going to fulfill. Now they're going to fulfill them. Now you have no longer reason to be married. Because, who are you?
Because you married them originally because you
It was
really
all
wanted
'cause
your
you.
own.
Now that those things have been fulfilled and you
Wow.
finally are someone who's X, Y, and Z,
Right.
why would you stay married
Beautiful.
at that point?
So what is the real purpose of marriage? Maybe we can
Well,
wrap,
no,
up on that.
Sure. There is a lot of that give and take that
There
they're
is.
fulfilling.
Yeah. That's why it's so confusing.
But God's doing that. Like, for example, my wife is contractive and I'm expansive. And so I really needed that.
Yeah.
When
Ground structure.
I'm so expansive,
Yeah.
my children wouldn't even know my name. I mean, they know the daddy name, but they wouldn't even know that. They're like, who's this guy? Because I'm so expansive. And of course, I'm speaking 9,000 miles away from our home in Jerusalem as we're doing this. So this contracted lady was perfect for me. And she needed someone who would draw her out.
Right.
Who would expand her. So that was perfect. She needed someone who was emotionally expressive because she was East Coast. Her father's German
No
descent.
offense.
East Coast, German
Mostly
descent.
East Coast usually.
Mostly what?
East Coast, I think, yeah.
So she was East Coast, German father. You don't share your feelings.
Right.
So she needed that.
Right.
I didn't need
that.
I didn't need that. I mean, I didn't need someone who doesn't share feelings.
Right.
And so that was, she did thank me one time early in the marriage. She said, wow, it's nicer to not have to wait 3 days to share how upset I was.
Wow.
But she really needed that.
So then the purpose of marriage is what?
The actual purpose?
The actual purpose, yeah. Just answering some little...
it's got different levels of meaning, I mean.
Meaning the purpose of marriage is to fulfill your potential, right? And to fulfill each other's potential together.
Life's, if I can quote Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, I love him.
Life's a tragedy. There's going to be so many hardships.
Yeah.
When you have a child, you're bringing them into the line of fire. You're putting them in the crosshairs of the tragedy of life, basically. So you should have a meaningful life so that your life's so meaningful that you have what to throw at the tragedy. This is why the nihilistic, progressive liberal, and eventually nihilistic people, because they took God off the top of the pyramid of importance, why they're so bitter and resentful is because you don't have anything to throw at the tragedy of life. Well, then you start just getting bitter and resentful about the tragedy of life. But we're going into the tragedy of life with a cachet of tools of the meaningful lives we lead, that it's worth living a life with its tragedy.
Right.
And so the purpose, I think, of marriage is, first of all, it's clear that people aren't meant to live their life alone. We have to have someone hold our heart.
Right.
And so, by the way, that's a reason to reveal more of yourself early, to see how well they hold your heart.
I like that.
I met 2 people downtown LA this week earlier. I met 2 people this week, a man and a woman, who both had written... it was at the medical center, Cedars-Sinai Medical Center.
Yeah.
2 doctors, Persians, of course. They each had written over 80 letters to their soulmate. Because that's one of my advices.
Uh-huh.
In
It's what?
you can go online, by the way, on YouTube to the 6 ways. It's called Happy, Happey. The 6 Ways of Expediting Finding Your Soulmate.
Oh, cool.
I just saw it as 40,000 views on one network.
Great.
Yeah, but it's also on my RabbiYomTov.com or Rabbi Yom Tov. Please subscribe. Anyway, but one of those things is pray for them.
If you haven't met them yet.
Yeah, because who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they're depressed.
Yeah, your spouse is walking around
Okay.
on the planet, and you should pray for them. You should write letters to them.
And dress the part, like meaning live with the integrity, including clothing, of a married woman, or a married man.
Yeah.
If you're going to shift that once you get married.
Right.
Like, a lot of
right.
people think like,
When
well,
I get
I'll wear
married-
this to attract somebody, but once I'm married, I won't.
Right. Become that person
Right.
now.
But that is
Right.
well, that is a double issue. One is that be that person with that level of integrity, and 2 is definitely don't lure somebody based on body parts
Right, of course.
or any other thing
Right, of
that's
course.
physical,
Yeah.
because then that's what they're after.
Yeah, this crowd probably won't do that. But I like the idea of becoming, like, are you the kind of woman that the man of your dreams would want to marry? And be that now. You know, like, become that now. Don't wait for something else.
And write them letters. And
I
then
like that. Write them letters.
when you meet them, like these people had each, I met them this week, they had each written more than 80 letters already. They write them on Fridays to be put by the candles.
Oh,
Or to put
wow.
Or be put by the
And then you
Kiddush cup.
show it to your
When you
person.
marry, you give them all the letters.
Ah, beautiful. I
And-
love that idea.
But another cool thing about
I
it
really
is
like
because
that.
you've been expressing that,
I like that idea.
you know early in the dating who would be the recipient of my heart. Because these are heartfelt letters.
Yeah.
And so...
That's a really good way to get into the heart as well. We were talking about getting into the heart around, like, what's it going to feel like, and
That's
Right.
that's what I was saying.
yeah.
So
Nice. I like that.
that's one of the ways is
Beautiful.
I call it integrity. It's part of the A. HA. The A is that they're already alive, like you said. They're
yeah,
walking
they're
around.
walking around.
And so there are 2 points off that. One is integrity, live with the integrity of it.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 is start developing the relationship now by letters, through prayer. Like maybe they're depressed today. Like pray for them.
That also allows you to receive. For everyone watching, we talk a lot about being open to receive and having that as being the feminine energy, and needing to feel worthy of that reception. So one of the ways you can get into that state is like a different technique that we haven't discussed, is to be able to write letters, because then you're already in that role. You're already in the role of wife, writing to your husband these letters. So you're kind of getting yourself into that consciousness. I really love that. And I think that marriage is really another vehicle to continue developing our potential, as in our own wholeness. And you cannot do that alone sometimes. You know, like we know that it's not good for man to be alone, right? So you need another person to give to, so that accesses your potential, but also to see parts of yourself you can't see when you're alone. They're a mirror. You can't get away from it, right? You can't walk out. They're just a mirror, and you have to deal with it in some way. So then how you choose to deal with it tells you something about yourself as well. And it's not about judgment. It's about acknowledgement of where I'm truly at. And sometimes we can't see where we're at when we're single, because there's nothing pushing up against it. And so I think what I've always said is that, you know, God chooses when to bring your spouse. And as long as you're doing the work, sometimes for some people it's longer being single, meaning they need to develop outside the marriage to a certain level. And for others, they needed to get married really, really young and develop inside the marriage. And in this generation, I really feel that is a huge variation of timelines. And the problem is when singles give up, or when singles don't believe in themselves, or when singles don't do the inner work. When they don't do that inner work and they just stay with whatever's going on, and they're not looking within, I think that's the biggest tragedy. That is the biggest tragedy, because then you can really stay stuck and blocked and not really be open to it. And I just had someone join my program 3 weeks ago, and she told me today she's like got 5 suggestions. She has had suggestions in 6 months, and she's in shock because she doesn't understand. I said, even you committing to yourself to do the work opens up a vessel. Just the commitment, I'm going to do the work, right? Like already that's a shift. And God wants to give us everything. God wants to be there for us, but we have to come to the table. We have to do that work. And that really, I think, is the least done hishtadlus, the effort. The least effort that people put in sometimes is that inner work. They do the practical work of dating, of course, and they do the spiritual work. They will pray and they will talk to God, but often this inner work is left out because it has a stigma to it in the Jewish world. And I think that Yom Tov is doing a great job at changing that as well with his Possible You seminars. I'm definitely trying to do that with my course called It's Going to Happen. And if anyone knows my work, we don't just talk about dating, even though we do it through the lens of dating. We do the much deeper work. It's like, where am I subconsciously at? What are some of my tikkunim? What are the things I need to work on? How do I shift that? How do I get out of that? How do I become a bigger vessel? How do I believe in myself? How do I trust myself to make the right decisions? And it's really, really possible to change. It's really possible. You don't have to. It doesn't take years. And please feel free to check out all of Yom Tov's stuff on YouTube.
Right.
And where else?
And
Yom Tov,
PossibleU.org.
PossibleU.org.
We got Lakewood Women's in like 2 weeks, I think. Lakewood Women, and we got Muncie Women.
Okay, great. Lakewood and Muncie Women.
Muncie Women, all
Check it out.
the North New Jersey, like Teaneck, all that whole area goes to Muncie usually.
Yeah, of course, 20 minutes away. So
and what was I going to say? Oh, I had another cool idea. One more cool idea.
Yeah.
Is what if you could bring something from your childhood to show on a date? Oh, I just wanted to show you this. I used to crochet when I was a kid, and I wanted to just show you
that's nice.
this. Or I used to write poetry, and here's a poem. So what you do is you show them something that's really from your early years, and it's so you.
Yeah.
You know, for me it was like hear me sing, like as I was a singer, and she would come, like my wife, like it wasn't a date, but I would see her in the audience, and meaning she was coming to hear me sing, which meant she can hold me there, and that's an important thing for me, and she's holding me there. So, but what if you read him a poem and he was like out to lunch, you know, like he
was like whatever,
or can you explain it to me when
I like
it really didn't need explanation?
That's great. These are great tips, guys. Like, really bring something on the date that is something somehow reflective of something meaningful for you. And what is write letters to your husband now, because that gets you into makabel mode, receiver mode. That gets you into the right mindset. And it's such a beautiful idea to write those letters, and like maybe every Friday before you light candles, and then give the guy that you're going to marry these letters. It's such a cool, I love that. I'm going to use that. I'm going to talk about that. So anyway, thank you for stopping by all the way from Yerushalayim, and it's nice. We had a whole family Shabbaton. It was really nice for my in-laws, for his parents, and and check him out, my brother-in-law. So have a great Sunday, guys.
Bye.
Bye.